Hi, I'm Brian King, and it's time for another Marriage Monday. Last week, we were talking about the importance of maintaining the physical connection, and I kind of ran out of time, so we're going to continue that today, talking about some of the common things that get in the way of maintaining the physical connection. Uh, One of the things that came up a lot for us is I didn't understand all of the things that could affect my wife's mood because they weren't the same things that affected my mood. I had to learn that she had different needs than I did, and she was also distracted by different things than I was. It's really kind of interesting. I'm not sure who coined the phrase, but there's a term out there called open awareness. And that's something that my wife has. I'd give whoever coined the phrase credit if I knew who it was. But basically, it means that everything around her she's aware of. Now, it's not that I'm not aware of everything around me. I have something I would call situational awareness. If something's moving or changing or isn't moving and should be, then I'll notice it. Now, on the other hand, um, she has kind of a general idea of everything that's going on around her. She has an open awareness, uh, and it can affect her mood. Like, for instance, I would be distracted by something that's moving. Like, if we're sitting in a restaurant and people walk in or the waitress drops something, I just change my attention to it. And she was thinking that I'm being distracted from her. And really, it's just if something's moving, I'm going to check it out, make sure it's not a danger or a threat. And it's the same thing around the house. If something's moving that shouldn't be, like if there's somebody in the yard or something going on outside or I hear a noise, I'm going to be totally distracted by it. Her, on the other hand, not so much. She will be distracted if someone's trying to break into the house, obviously, but she's also distracted if things are out of order. If she knows that the toys are all over the place, it's going to affect her mood. If she knows that there's a sink full of dirty dishes, it's going to affect her mood. If she knows that there's laundry and like 14 other things that need to be done and they haven't gotten to them yet, it's going to affect her mood. Now, one of the ways that me as a husband can help is to kind of develop my own open awareness and actually look around when I get home. If there's a sink full of dirty dishes, maybe it's time for me to pitch in and do some dishes. If the laundry's getting behind, I can hit that. I can get the kids cleaning up the toys. I can do other things to kind of make it so that things are in order. And then she's much more relaxed and ready for a more interesting evening. Speaking of the evening, it's extremely important that you go to bed at the same time. That's an incredibly good way to help maintain the physical connection. You're there, you're both awake at the same time. You're not like coming into bed later and expecting something after she's half asleep. That's not a good thing. There was a survey done by Psychology Today, and they came to the conclusion with his research that after about 3.5 years into a marriage, 75% of the couples didn't go to bed at the same time. That's very disturbing. Uh, that's a lot. And it seems like it could cause a lot of problems. It's extremely important that you go to bed at the same time. It's crucial for maintaining the physical connection. Now, if you can't, if your job schedules are totally upside down, recognize it as something that's going to be a factor that you're going to have to overcome. So if you plan around it, you can make it work, but just recognize it that it's a huge deal and it's something that could easily be detrimental. So lots of times, I think they said the reasons that they gave were one spouse stays up and watches TV, or they go on social media, or that they're doing something working, doing something else. A lot of those things can be, monitored and changed and adapted, and you probably could go to bed more close to the same time, or plan to get up at the same time if that works better for your schedule. But it's important that you're in the same place at the same time if you want to be physically connected. And that's a huge barrier if you're not. Another thing that you'll notice over the years, my wife and I guess a lot of women have body insecurity. Uh, the culture has made it seem like everybody's supposed to be, look like they're airbrushed, and nobody looks like that. It's a lot of it's photoshopped. A lot of it's, the media is telling us what we're supposed to be attracted to. I'm super attracted to my wife, but she doesn't always feel like she's attractive. Why? Because she's comparing herself to other images that are presented on a daily basis through our phones, through TV, through magazines, through media. And you, as a husband, need to be sure that she knows that you find her extremely attractive. And she needs to be reinforced in that area over and over again. It just, because there's such a constant barrage against her, especially after she's had a baby. As you get older, menopause is another huge deal where your body changes. There's just so many things that can affect her feeling of how she feels, whether or not she feels attractive or not. You as a husband need to kind of monitor that and then overcome it by, being sure that she knows you find her attractive. Super important, especially as time goes by, you're going to have to continue to do that. And that's not a bad thing, but her mood also is affected by a lot of the things that are going on with her hormones or monthly cycles. If she's nursing, if she's approaching menopause, pharmaceuticals can have a huge effect. I've always found it kind of odd that, using birth control pills can reduce your desire to be sexual. Kind of seems a little counterproductive for what they were designed for, but it's a big problem if you don't realize it. All of this stuff can be overcome if you realize it, and then you have to work at it harder because it's something that needs to be overcome. Another thing that can get in the way of maintaining the physical connection is distractions. Your phone is a huge distraction. If you're paying attention to your phone, you can't be paying attention to your wife. It's just, you can't multitask. It's not fair to her. Put the phone down. Also the computers and social media and all that. Another big distraction is babies. When you start having babies and there's a little cry in the other room or beside you, it can be a huge distraction. And it just continues to grow as they become toddlers and they can open doors. Make sure you've got a good lock on your bedroom door. Super important. Not to have it locked all the time. You want your kids to have access to you when they need you, but there are times when you want to make sure you have some warning before they have access to you. So that's super important. Make sure you've got a good lock. And it just keeps growing. Teens can be super distracting because they're more autonomous. They're staying up, making different noises at different times. Something you've got to overcome. That's the whole point, is to put the effort in. The physical connection and maintaining the physical connection is one of the basic things that your marriage needs to be successful. And like I said, if one person in the marriage doesn't think it's important, check with the other one, because they probably do. It is extremely important, and it is the only thing that makes a marriage different than a business relationship. If you're not having sex, you might as well just be roommates. And like I said, if it's not you, maybe the other person is the one that would rather have more of the physical connection. So all of these things can be overcome. You've got to become an expert on on your wife, on her moods, on her hormones, on what's going on with her there, on her what distracts her, and then just take the actions to overcome it. And you can maintain the physical connection throughout your entire marriage. And it's worth it. So I think that kind of wraps up this topic. I'm going to move on to some things next week. Last Wednesday, I had a little bit of talking on this subject too, so you might want to check that one out. But that's it for today on this no, not Winning Wednesday, Marriage Monday. So I will see you next week and enjoy. We'll talk to you later.